You're actually going to see
Being
them
recorded.
around week 3 and week 4. But right now, we're going to get into that icebreaker with Duncan. I'm sure many of you heard from Duncan. That's how you heard about this program. So I'm going to leave it over to him to take it away. Go ahead, Duncan.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see y'all on here. Before we get into the icebreaker, I just wanted to first say I am so grateful that y'all are taking advantage of this opportunity. I must have emailed 1,000 businesses. I must have posted and paid for boosts on Instagram, paid like $200 for boosts on Instagram, Facebook. So everybody always say it's not no opportunities for us. Everybody always says there's nothing for us to level up. There's no support for business owners. And I shared the same info that y'all got with so many people, but they just didn't take advantage of it. So y'all should first and foremost give yourselves a round of applause. Give you pop your collar a little bit, like because you know what I mean. Y'all are serious about y'all business.
Yes.
Not to mention some of y'all gonna leave here with some money when it's all said and done. But anyway, okay, so let's do a little icebreaker. So this is what we're gonna do. Um, I let me think. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a group one first. I'll do a story and then I'm gonna ask you one question. All right. If you know the answer, put yes in the chat. If you don't know the answer, put no in the chat. We'll do it like that. Okay. So here's the story. One night, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker go into a castle. The next morning, four people walk out. Put a yes in the chat if you know who all four people are. Put a no if you do not. I'm gonna read it again though, because I'm nice like that. So here we go. One night, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker walk into a castle. The next morning, four people walk out. If you know the answer, put a yes in the chat. If you don't, put a no. And I appreciate the honesty. I see some no's. I see a lot of no's. Ooh, okay. All right. No, no, no. Oh, man. All right. Where's Brianna Blackshear? Where's Brianna? Let me see.
Right here. How did I know I was gonna get chosen?
Tell me who the four people are.
So I'm just guessing, but the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and then I was thinking the person who owns the castle because somebody had to let them in and they're
Okay.
coming out the next day. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's a
No,
guess.
no. That's a good guess. You wrong though. And you know what I'm saying? Like I need like a buzzer there. You wrong. But I appreciate the energy. Like you went for it right there, Okay, Miss Brianna. Let me see. Let me go back to the chat. Let me see. No, 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 no. Candida. No, I'm not calling out Candida because I think she heard this before, so I'm just gonna skip her. Where's Ivy? Ivy, where you at? Come off of mute if you're in there, Miss Ivy. She not here? Ivy Harris going once. You know, I'm trying to give away some money and don't nobody seem to want it. So let's try it one more time. I'm gonna read the story again. Let's see if y'all can get it, and then I gotta hurry up. Y'all got real training to do.
I'm here.
Who said that? Oh, Ivy.
This is Ivy.
Okay, Ivy. Who are the four people?
The butcher, the baker, the candlestick baker, and the knight with a K.
That's right, the knight. I said one knight, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker. Going, you know what I'm saying? You was thinking, y'all heard night, Ebony, and you was thinking evening, not dude on the horse. So listen, this is what we're gonna do, Ivy. Um, I am gonna send you $30 on Cash App right
Oh,
now. So I'm gonna put my number in the chat and I'm
thank
gonna
you.
text me your Cash App or Venmo info, and I'm gonna send you $30. And then I'm gonna get so you do that now while I say this last piece, text me because
Okay.
I'm about to jump off. But ladies, listen to me. Past Stones is an incredible program. Jahida and her team are really gonna pour into y'all. The more you lean in, the more you gonna get out. I sent them one lady. who she called me like, Duncan, I'm trying to level up my business. I sent them the lady. I just saw the lady 2 days ago. She said, Duncan, I got the funding from Pathstone, $50,000 for her business. I said, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And so they got all types of stuff to help you level up, like products, trainers, consultants. Like they just y'all in the right space if you're serious. But if you're gonna get in what you put out. If you don't show up to the calls, if you don't, you know what I'm saying? If you're not in the space, you're gonna miss out on stuff. But if you really lean in, I promise y'all, Jahida, this is all she does is support businesses. This is like all her and her team do is lift up businesses, all type of ways. So I wish y'all nothing but success. Hope y'all enjoy the program, and I'll turn it back over to you, Jahida.
All right. Thank you so much, Duncan. All right. So we are going to go over a couple housekeeping items and pitch logistics because I know a lot of you signed up because you want that money, right? There's $5,000 at the end of the rainbow, essentially. So before we get to that money, want to talk about what to expect, not only from us as facilitators, but also you folks as participants, right? So one thing, take a quick second, look at your name right now, the way it's showing up. If it says iPhone, or if you're using somebody else's Zoom account, for example, just make sure that you go ahead and update your name so we know exactly who we're speaking with, okay? If you have any questions or you need assistance doing that, just let us know in the chat. My colleague Marisol, amazing. I don't know which way you see me on the screen here. She absolutely is the person to assist you with all things tech, all things communication as well. All right. Secondly, attendance and participation is vital, right? It's mandatory for all sessions, not just classes, but labs as well. Same thing with your camera on, right? We want to see exactly who it is that we're speaking to. If you don't have the time to be on camera, is this really the right course for you? Okay. So make sure you have your cameras on. We want to know exactly who it is we're speaking with. Okay. What else? You'll see, we haven't really had any issues with this, but you'll see throughout these 7 weeks, this is going to be an amazing time to support each other, to provide feedback on each other's businesses. You may potentially find that you are going to collaborate with each other. You may find that you're actually going to find clients on this call as well. Okay, so this is meant to be a very supportive cohort. Anything outside of that will not be tolerated, all right? So let's just make sure that we are respectful across the board, okay? Slide decks and recordings. So anything that we go over, you are going to have access to the slide decks. You will have the recordings as well. So if there's anything that you missed or you kind of want to go back and review again, you're going to have access to that. And again, we're available for any kind of questions that you have as well. In terms of questions throughout the course, you're in amazing hands with Kim. So if you have any questions throughout like what Kim is teaching, feel free to put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand with the little emoji icon, and then we can pause. We can tell you to come off mute, or if you want us to ask the question for you, we could do that as well, okay? This isn't meant to be, just kind of like a classroom you're sitting in and you're listening to a lecture. It is meant to be interactive. So please feel free to, stop us when you need some assistance, okay? That is, let me see if I'm missing anything. Pitch deck. All right. So now to the pitch. Okay. Some of you have pitched before. Some of you, this may be your very first time. We're here for it all. Okay. So again, any kind of questions you have, any nerves that you have, it's okay. Like we've dealt with this across the board every single year. There's usually not anything that we haven't encountered at this point in time. So no question is silly. Please feel free to ask. That being said, next Monday, by next week's class, we are going to provide you with a pitch deck template. So if you've never pitched before, or if you've never put a pitch deck together before, we're going to give you something to work off, and then you're going to just kind of copy paste your own information in there, your own graphics, but just so you have an idea of what that's supposed to look like. In terms of the pitch itself, the way that we're going to go about this, and you'll get more details like later on down the line, we will ask you ahead of time to register if you decide you do want to pitch. Okay, so there's going to be a super quick registration form. you fill out, and then we'll ask you to upload your pitch deck. Pitch decks will give you a deadline when you need to submit those by so that you can be eligible to actually pitch. So the way we do our pitch competition is there's a semifinals, and then from the semifinals, 10 people get selected to move on to the finals. Okay. In order to be eligible for the semifinals, part of that is you need to have submitted your pitch deck by the date that we give you. You also need to meet the attendance requirements like we mentioned before. So everyone on here, oh, somebody having a question? Okay, I think we're good. So in terms of the requirements, like I said, attendance is mandatory. Life happens, we completely understand that. So within the 7 weeks, you are allowed to technically miss 2 sessions, okay? That being said, if you are going to pitch, you cannot miss the semifinals, okay? So just keep that in mind. All these things, this is a lot of information, but we're going to put this in an email. You'll see it multiple times across the board, so don't worry if like you're not getting all of the details right now, okay? The semifinal itself is going to be May 13th, okay? So if you want to mark your calendars for that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead while you're saying that. I'm gonna pull up the timeline.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So May 13th is going to be the semifinal. So prior to that, we will have a practice session where you'll have the ability to kind of flesh some things out, okay? And then the actual pitch competition will be Wednesday, May 20th. Okay, we're still trying to figure out if we're going to do that virtually or in person, but again, we'll give you some more details on once that's all ironed out. Okay, before we move forward with the session, anyone have any questions? I only see the slide deck right now, so if you do,
I have a
you're gonna come off mute.
question.
Yeah.
Can I speak with you after about this for the attendance? Because I'm looking at some conflicts.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Send me an email because obviously class ends at 7:30 tonight. So I will be going to this. But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Send me an email and I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay. Sasha, I see you moving your lips, but I don't know if I don't know if you're trying to ask something. You good? Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. All right, so that is it. That was the boring stuff. But again, very important. You all need to know it. Now I'm gonna hand it over to Kim, which is our amazing facilitator, and Marisol and I will be sort of on the background. If you have any questions, you need anything, we're here for you, okay? All right, take it away, Kim.
Hello, everyone. I am getting this together, but I'm happy, happy, happy to be back here working with all of you. So all of you can hear me, all you can see me, some thumbs up. What's going on? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So again, welcome. So happy you're here taking charge of your businesses because this is where we get some owner work done. And to give you a little bit about me, I've been doing this particular program. This is my fifth and a half time doing this program. Love it every time. I'm the owner of Ujuzi. This is a training company, and I work particularly with early stage entrepreneurs, helping you get that business up off the ground and get going. I've seen a couple of familiar faces in here, but I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you. And as Jahaira said, you should be using this also as a networking opportunity. Fire up that chat. Drop your business in there, what you do, who you serve, what problem you solve. When you come off mic for any type of question, you should be introducing yourself with this format. My name is whatever, owner of whatever. We help who with what by how. So if you look at mine, it's Kimberly Mitchell, owner of Ujuzi, a training company helping struggling small business operators become consistently profitable by developing a business owner mindset. So that's the format that you should be using so that everybody knows what you do and who you serve. All right, so I'm going to see if I can lower this chat so that I can see my screen. Where'd my screen go? Hold on, y'all. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Here we go. So, the pitch. That's what this session is about. This pitch equals money. So you should be pretty excited. And I hope all of you will at least consider pitching for that money. There's three level of prizes. You all have a great chance to win. You're fully supported with Marisol and Jahaira and myself. So pitch, pitch, pitch. That's what you're here for. And the purpose of that pitch, in addition to getting money, is to be able to use it outside. So even if you decide not to actually pitch for the dollars, still look at creating a pitch deck because that's something that can be used on your socials. That's something that can be used for conversations with other potential customers. And it also helps you kind of put your business into a nice, neat framework that you can use over and over again when you talk about your business to other people. So I definitely hope everybody at least will create a pitch deck. Now, before we start talking about a pitch deck, this is something that is so near and dear to my heart, is creating that business owner state of mind. We step out here into business ownership, most of us coming from an employee situation. We're W-2s, we step out and we become business owners. And often we will bring that W-2 mindset to the business. And that is a huge stumbling block for us, especially when we're starting up. So when you're thinking about becoming a business owner, there's a whole lot of extra stuff you need to be thinking about that goes well beyond the colors, the logo, the Instagram handle, even so much as what your product is. You have to be thinking in terms of how I am going to create a business model that actually generates income. Your business is a separate entity, and that entity should be a revenue generating asset. Meaning, if you have a business and you've set that business model up correctly, you should be able to turn that volume up and down as you need it. If you need additional money coming up in 2 months, you should be able to figure out which levers to pull inside that business to generate a little more income. If you feel like you're going to be away for a little extended period of time and you want to turn it down a little bit, you should be able to turn those levers whichever way you need to. But that comes from setting it up with a business owner mindset and a business model that supports that sort of tinkering and up and down. So that's what we're going to be starting with and thinking about how do I think about this entity as a business, as a separate thing that operates without me one day and that also pays me. So hope everybody clear on that because I can get a little bit on my soapbox about that one. So when we start in these businesses, and I'm guilty as charged of probably all of these, we get into the spending money on the immediate things, the business cards, the classes, the webinars, the trainings, the traveling to this conference, doing all of these things that are certainly feeding into the business, but they are not the business. And by the time we get to the point where we need the business, we don't have the right audience. We don't know how to talk to our audience. We don't have structures and systems set up to support customers in our business. We have no idea what the customer journey is. We have people who really, we're going to talk about the problem that you solve that and what your solution is, but those are some of the things that need to be set well before you open your doors for business. Because otherwise, you're going to be constantly trying to catch up and constantly trying to figure out what these what these answers are to these things, and they really come from conversations with your ideal customer. If you don't have that channel set up and you don't know who they are or what they do, and this is not just direct to consumer, this is also B2B, business to business. You have to know who they are and how you're going to talk to them. Any questions, let me know. Business model. In the simplest terms, this is about how your business plans to make money and how much is it going to make? How does that function? What's that sales cycle? What's the business development look like? I will tell you that one of the most critical things that I see missing from small businesses is no lead generation process. Leads are the lifeblood of your business. I'll say that again. Leads are the lifeblood of your business. Even before cash, because without leads, there is no cash. Leads are what gets all these people in. We're going to see in a couple of later sessions what that math looks like when you're bringing in those leads. But a business model has a process for that. A business model, I call it climbing the org chart. When you start that business, you're spinning all the plates. You're the one that's wearing all the hats. You're doing all the jobs. But you should not build a model that requires that. You should not be building a model that doesn't allow you to what I call climb the org chart, because in an org chart, you have that single box up at the top. Question? You have that single box up at the top. And then you have a layer. These are like the managers usually. And then under the managers are the hands of the business, the workers. When you start, you're all three of these levels. But your business model should be about how you eventually get up to that single spot up at the top, because that's where your business needs you to be. Your business needs you to have that high level overall vision of the business and how it's going to grow and scale and make money and support all the employees underneath. So that's where you really want to be thinking about, what's my business model? What's the structure that I want to put into place so that I can then start moving up into that CEO square? There's a link here for a Canvas, and we're also going to be talking about a more early stage Canvas later on in the sessions. So for this pitch, does somebody have a question? I think I hear somebody off mute, but let me know.
It's just somebody came off mute, Kim, but you're good.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Just quickly, sorry, Kim, before you move forward, for anyone that maybe missed my announcement in the beginning, anybody that's joining us a little later, please make sure that your cameras are on. Okay, we understand if you need to step away for a second, but if you are on a prolonged duration off camera, we will boot you out of class. Okay, so please make sure you turn your cameras on.
Okay. I heard her. So for this pitch, there are 7 slides. Now, the reason that these first 3 are colored, because this is where you want to spend the least amount of time. I can't emphasize this enough. The pitch is 3 minutes, not 3 minutes and 1 second, not 3 minutes and 7 seconds, not 6 minutes, 3 minutes. So you cannot be spending 2 or 3 minutes on your first slide. You can't spend hours. And listen, after many, many times of doing this, we see these slides where they have a little content on here, and they start out with, I'm Kim Mitchell. I'm the owner of Ujuzi. And in the first grade, I knew I wanted to be a trainer. And then I worked with a teacher and I won an award in the 6th grade. And then I graduated from the 6th grade in middle school. What are we talking about here? What are we doing here? This is not how you do the pitch. Your introduction needs to be quick. Your problem statement needs to be quick. Your solution needs to be quick. Why? Because in our pitch, we want to make sure we spend the most time on the things that the judges really, really want to know. What the judges really want to know is that you have a sustainable business model, a model that has revenue coming in, and that when they give you this money, it's going to really boost your business and make a difference in the kind of amount of customers that you serve. So these first three, you want to hit hard and fast, and we're going to give you the framework for that. And then the 4 through 7 is really where you want to put the meat of your pitch. So everybody should be thinking, how do I quickly give these what my introduction is? We're going to show you a couple of models, and I believe some of the previous pitches are available on the YouTube channel. So those are some things you want to watch and see the people who won and see the people who didn't maybe make it to the next round and why. So your introduction. Again, hard, fast. Who are you? We want to know what it is about you that makes you suitable as a business owner for this particular business. What is it about you that contributes? What about your past, that your skills, your knowledge, your previous experience that really makes you specifically suitable to run the kind of business that you've built? That doesn't have to be a 4 or 5 minute monologue. It shouldn't be a 4 or 5 minute monologue. That should be very, very quick, very, very simple, and as impactful and exciting as you can possibly make it. We're going to do some practicing in the labs. You're going to have time to really work through that offline from this. So, and get some good feedback about what you want to trim and what you want to emphasize. So, don't need to get too worked up about that today, but really keep in mind, how can I quickly tell my story about who I am and why I'm the best person to be running this business? The problem. This one I think I want to spend a little time on. If I were to ask you, and I'm actually going to open up the chat for this so that I can see. If I wanted to ask you, what's the problem your business solves? Drop in the chat, what's the problem that your business solves? Because this is probably one of the most critical pieces of information you can have about your business. Confidence, social self-esteem. So I'm going to say this way. A problem sounds like a problem. Boring intimacy. Okay, now we're sounding like a problem. That could be a problem for a whole lot of people. What's the problem? My business prevents heat injuries. That's a problem. We provide office space resources to small business. What's their problem? Confidence. What's the problem? Lack of creative resources, professional portfolios, hands-on experience. That doesn't sound like a problem. Like, what's the problem? Meets clients where they are, mobilizing fitness. Where is the problem? Maternal mortality. That's a problem. Reducing maternal morbidity improves eczema. So the problem is eczema, psoriasis, stress marks. Those are built into it, but there's a bigger problem there. Provide housekeeping in places and sanitized places. Where's the problem? When you write down what your problem is, it should sound like a problem. It should sound like people could look at that and go, oh, I have that problem. Preserving fleeting moments with visuals. Where's the problem? Leaders struggle to communicate in ways that align with their values and and affects consumer experiences. Sort of, but what's the problem? Like what would make a leader say, I need that, I have that problem? Lack of centralized locations and resource hubs. For what? Resource hubs for what? So you're close. Lack of skin education. Okay, so what's the result of the lack of skin education? What's the result of lack of centralized locations and resource hubs? Removes barriers to preventative healthcare access. The barriers are the problem, but you really have to get to not what you do, but what they need you to do. What's the problem that they need you to solve? That's really what I'm going to jump back over here, but that's really what lack of dental hygiene, that's a problem. Nursing care at home, where's the problem? Ooh, some of these are stories. That's a problem. If your problem is a story, that's a problem because it's got to be quick. Create compelling visuals to attract. Create compelling visuals doesn't sound like a problem, so you got to really turn that around and get to the problem. Loneliness, isolation, and fear of being removed from their home to a facility. That's a problem. So that's really where you want to, I'm going to go back to the presentation, but those are the kind of things you want to be thinking about when you state your problem. That's from it could be a physical problem where they have some sort of like the skin, something's going on with my skin, or I'm afraid of being moved out of my home. Those are problems. Status, we talk about status on here. When you think of luxury items, they're solving a problem also. When I sell this $10,000 bag, it's because I'm helping people walk out of here and feel like they're very important to other people because it's not to them. They carry that bag and that name because other people will look at them and they will feel important to those other people. So it's not always a tangible problem, but it's still a problem. The fear, anxiety, those are problems. Emotional. Really nail down what my problem is. Problem sounds like a problem because when you state it that way, your customer, when we talked about leads, your customers will hear that problem and say, I got it. I want you to look at commercials and think about advertisements. These businesses spend a heap of money, a heap of money learning how to say the words to their ideal customers that those customers will be able to recognize themselves in that problem and solution. That's exactly what you want to do with your business. Your business is no different than a Coca-Cola, a Johnson and Johnson. They just have bigger revenues. They've been around longer. They have bigger revenues. But everything they do, you should be doing in your business. You should have a marketing budget. You should have a process for onboarding. You should have all of these things, structures and systems in place to be able to support your customers. You should have customer service available for your people. All of the things they do, you would do on a smaller scale, but you still need them. They know what their problem is. They know what they're solving, and they know who they're solving it for. That's all the things that you need to be doing way before you get into the branding and the marketing and all the other things. Because if you don't know these answers, then you won't be able to speak to that customer and bring them into the door. There's no such thing in business as if you build it, they will come. It does not work. I'm here to tell you, it does not work. Excuse me. So next, after you figure out what the problem is, you got to say, is this something that is a big enough problem that people will pay to solve? There are numerous businesses that begin because the business owner decided they no longer wanted to work as a W-2 and they have this idea, they have this ability, they have this skill, and they step out and say, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to create a candle making business because I love candles. Really, I'm good at it. I got some supplies. I know where to get the supplies from. And I took a class. We're going to start this business. But they did not stop to say, what's the problem I'm solving? Is it a big enough problem that people will pay me to make candles for them? The number two problem, and they did a study on this, the number two problem that caused businesses to fail was they ran out of money. Who can tell me what the number one problem was?
They weren't solving a problem.
They weren't budgeting as well.
Not the budgeting. It wasn't about money, actually. And I didn't get your name, but the first person who was on here is very close.
Marketing?
Not marketing.
No,
Target
there's
audience.
not enough people that have that problem, or the problem isn't clear enough.
Essentially, yes.
Mm.
The market did not need what they were selling. So they stepped out because they thought it was a great idea. But the market never said, hey, we have this problem, or enough of us have this problem to support a business. I use this example almost every year where I used to have this huge pile of shoes when I walked in the door. I come in, kick my shoes off, and by the end of the week, it's a mound of shoes. I have since solved that problem. But there was somebody who said, hey, I'll come over. I love organizing, and I will come over and organize your shoes for you. And I thought, that solves a problem. I would love that. But I didn't want to pay a lot for it. And I probably am the majority, or excuse me, the minority who would even pay anybody to do that. So that wasn't a good use of her time as a business to say, I'm now going to start organizing people's shoes. Organizing in general, that is a business. Plenty of people do that. But you have to figure out, am I going to really focus on this niche? Because with so many people out here organizing, how do I stand out? Which we'll talk about in another session. But if you decide I really want to do shoes, how are you going to do the research to find out, is this something that enough people are willing to pay me enough money to sustain it as a business?
Hey, Kim. Oh,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. When you get a second, it looks like Yamina has her hand up.
Oh, okay. I can't see hands, but yes, go right ahead.
I have my hand up, but I said budgeting, but she was on marketing.
Oh, okay. Yes, you will need money now. You hold that budgeting thought because money is a part of it. But even beyond money, even if your business is able to figure out how to manage the cash flow in and out, if the marketplace, because the marketplace rules, if the marketplace says, I'm unwilling to pay you for that, then you will not be able to survive. And even if you think about, excuse me, think about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, the price of Coca-Cola depends on where you buy that Coca-Cola from. Coca-Cola at the corner store might be $1. Coca-Cola at Tops might be $1.89. Coca-Cola at the movies might be $4.99. Same Coca-Cola. So it really just depends on where that problem is, because guess what? Those people eating that salty popcorn have decided, I'm willing to pay $4.99 to solve this thirst problem at the movies. Outside of the movies, maybe not so much. But that goes back to this first one here. Is it a vitamin or a pain reliever? Pain relievers make more money across the board. What do I mean by that? I mean, if my problem causes me pain versus benefits me, I'm going to always go to relieving this pain versus just think about your vitamins and your pain relievers. I'm never without Aleve. It's always somewhere nearby me. And no one has to remind me to take Aleve when these knees start hurting. However, I have a shelf full of vitamins that I keep telling myself that this is the month I'm going to take it every single day. I haven't made it yet. I haven't made it yet. So, is your business one of those nice to haves that will give me some benefit? Or is your business a pain reliever that when I am ready to, when I'm feeling that pain, I'm willing to pay whatever it takes to the person who can relieve that pain? Now, I will say that there's almost every business can position itself as a pain reliever if it understands their customer well enough. If you understand what it is your customer is truly trying to get to, then you can position it as a pain reliever and they will still pay that extra money for it. So think about that when you're thinking about what my problem is. Any questions on that? I can't see hands, but you
I
just
don't
pop.
see any hands so far, Kim.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How to frame that problem statement. This is where I was talking about when you're doing this pitch, you want to make sure you're as concise but as impactful as possible. So there's this format that you can use to really kind of give it to us in one sentence. Who is the person or people impacted by it? What's happening to them? And why does it matter? When you think about, I'll give you the skin, the eczema and psoriasis. That's a very visible problem. And you can clearly see why somebody would want to solve that as quickly as possible. But let's take the one about visibility. Who would be the ones impacted by that? What is it that's happening to them that makes them recognize it as a problem? And why is it important for them to solve that problem? So think about the way that you would phrase that. Somebody's echoing. And now I will say one of the easiest ways to find the answers to this is to talk to your customers. Even if you only had one customer before, talk to them. It is mind-blowing to me the number of small business owners who are either afraid or uncomfortable talking to customers. You must listen. This is me saying this is non-negotiable. You absolutely must talk to your customers on a regular basis. They are a wealth of information on why they chose your business over someone else, what the problem is, the way your business uniquely solves their problem versus what they were doing before you came along. What's happening to them, they can tell you in great detail. Even if you only have one customer, have a conversation, have a regular conversation with them. Get the answers to this right from the horse's mouth. Because that market research is something that you should be doing on a regular basis as your business grows and evolves and starts to build additional income streams, revenue streams, different offerings. You don't want to do that in a vacuum or in a lab. where you're off on your own deciding this is what you want to do. Your customers are very vocal. Think about this. Long before you were a business owner, you were a customer. You are a customer as much, if not more than, a business owner. The people you do business with are reaching out to you to try to find out, what do you want? What do you need? How can I serve you better? What more can I sell you? You should be doing the exact same things to your customer. You should be having the exact same conversations with your customers, which is again why you really want to understand before you open those doors who you're solving this problem for and what it is what solution, how you've created a solution for that problem. What is the problem, who you're serving, who you're solving it for, and how are you serving or solving that problem? Validation comes from those same conversations. Really understanding and leaving that channel open to say, if you have a complaint, let me know what it is so I have an opportunity to fix it. How impactful is it for you to buy something and then have the owner reach out to you and say, thank you for the purchase. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any problems whatsoever, here's my email. Let me know. I'm happy to support you. That's a built-in recurring sale right there, because not only am I going to come back and buy some more, but I'm going to tell everybody I know, hey, I bought this candle and the owner actually sent me a message to thank me and wants to know if I have some ideas. I'm going to send them that scent that I really want that was sold out of this other place and see if they'll make it for me. That's really the beauty of small business ownership. You actually have the opportunity to get up close and personal with your customers, allow them to give you information and tell you what it is they need from you and how to solve their problems. You should be doing that as much as possible. And all of that you can just put right in this single statement for your pitch, because that's what the judges are going to be listening for. Do you know your problem? Do you know how you solved it for your customer? And do you know why your customer is buying from you? Questions? Okay.
No hands yet.
All right. This is another struggle for small businesses because we open our doors with this product or service, and all we want to talk about is the features of the product and the service. I make peanut candy bars and I use honey instead of sugar, and it's less fattening. And I have these peanuts that I import from wherever they make good peanuts, and I use this specific chocolate. That's not really what your customer is listening for. Your customer is looking for the benefits of all of that. What's the result? So what that you bring these peanuts in from wherever? So what you use this particular chocolate? What's the benefit to me? That's what your customers want to hear. That's what needs to be in your marketing. That's what also needs to be as part of your pitch. What are the benefits of your product or service? Again, commercials are perfect for that. You listen to what they talk about. They could be talking about a car. They're selling a car, but what they're talking about is safety. What they're talking about is speed or style. What they're talking about are the benefits of these features. Do you know the benefits of your product or service? I'm going to go back to the chat here. So drop some of the benefits of your product or service in the chat.
Hey, Kim, while we're waiting for folks to drop the benefits, I know Sasha has her hand up. So, Sasha, you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Yes. Hi, Kim. Good to see you.
You too.
You're dropping gems, baby girl. Okay, so you said to inquire about to your customer about why they need your services and what problem they're solving.
Mhm.
Couple things. One, you said if they hire you, that's the opportunity when you should ask them. How would you, the first question is, how would you do it prior to them hiring? Would you do like a wait list, which I've heard of, or would you do like a questionnaire? How would you engage in that, or would you go to like a forum, like a Reddit or things like that, like a forum, things like that? So that's the first question.
Mhm. First question, I will just give you an answer here. If you have your business, one of the things you could do to get information on your specific business is a focus group. I mean, you can just say, I'm gonna have a order of pizza. I need 10 people to come. I'll give you some drink and some food, and then just ask you a few questions. That way you can get it tailored specifically to your business. But when you're thinking of a broader industry level reconnaissance, a good place is Amazon, Reddit, any place where people are talking about a competitor. You can get that information that way as well. But I would say specifically if you don't have any customers of your own and you want really detailed information about your business, the focus group is the best way.
Love. Sweet. Thank you for that. Second question. You're saying solve a problem and they will tell you what the problem is. But
Mhm.
I've noticed sometimes businesses, I don't want to say create a problem that wasn't there, but essentially they do that. So is it that you're pointing out and manufacturing a problem that which is totally manipulative, but that's not a good thing. That you're telling them they need this, or is it because you hear them? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. What I've seen is, again, business owners start a business based on their own needs, their own skills and abilities, their own idea of what they themselves want to have as a business. And that's not a bad thing if you then take it to the marketplace. If you make that decision and you build that business and you don't then turn around and say, okay, marketplace, I have this idea. Do you need it? But you try to open your doors and say, what's wrong with you, marketplace? I built this business and nobody's coming. You have to be able to then take that step after you create that, after you have that idea, after you think you know what the market is asking for, and actually go out and ask the market.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Marisol.
Hi. Kim, so actually based off of Sasha's question, um, what if the problem that you're trying to solve also affects, I don't know if we've already answered this, but also affects um the way that you're gonna move about your community and really like bring your product to the community, if that makes sense. Like I'm speaking in terms of diversity specifically. You're trying to fill a need uh in that sense. And the place where you live is actually not lacking in diversity, but it's siloed, let's say.
Mhm.
So that's probably going to affect getting your business out there and getting the business, if that makes sense.
It sort of makes sense, but you still have to dial into what's that problem you're solving. Diversity is a big word. It's got a lot of
Mhm.
meaning underneath it. What are you doing in the diversity space? What's the problem? Again, problem sounds like a problem. So what's the
Mhm.
problem within the diversity space that you're solving? And then
Mhm.
who has that problem? So when you
Okay,
get in
so
there and can understand that, then that's going to be able to dictate how you move around and really set that business up for success.
okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, we have two other questions. I know Wanda had her hand up first, and then Diamond, you're right after Wanda. You want to come up,
Okay.
Wanda?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, for myself, I have a medical transportation company, and my solution is there's no longer a barrier for those with Medicaid and the elderly. So it's mine is kind of point blank. Like I do go into our community and do things like helping parents get their kids to college, helping move into college dorms, or those with that don't have Medicaid. I do help people get to other appointments and things like that. But my solution to benefits is kind of I just take away the barrier to not getting to appointments. I just can't find that to try to broaden it a little bit.
Well, yeah, you got to think of it a little bit bigger than that and say, what's the benefit of being able to get to appointments on time without a barrier? When you are able to do that on a consistent basis, and first of all, you think what prevents someone from being able to do that? And
Mm-hmm.
then what's the benefit once they are able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of, again, raise that up from just thinking I'm solving this particular transportation problem and say, I'm giving these people freedom.
Mm.
I am really allowing these people to get to go places that they never would have been able to get to otherwise. I'm giving them independence, especially when you're talking about someone who's a senior who may not have kids or may not have kids that can take them places. I now am being able to give them independence to be able to get to and if they're going specifically, if you're specifically talking about doctor's appointments, you are giving them better health because there's no way that they can really be healthy if they can't get to the doctor on a regular basis.
Okay. All right.
Can I add to that, Kim?
Sure, absolutely.
So this is Luann.
Hey, Luann.
As a caregiver, not a full-time caregiver, but I have a brother with multiple sclerosis, and we're always juggling how to get him to doctor appointments that we don't need to be there, where like a dentist and so that type of service frees the family too.
Mhm.
So the family's probably even the bigger customer than the person who needs the transportation. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you for that. But that is exactly, Wanda, how you want to be thinking about the business. Who's benefiting from the product or service that you sell? That gives you a greater perspective on what it is you are offering.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for the question, Wanda. Diamond, you want to come off mute and ask yours?
Hello, thank you. Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
Hello.
So my question is basically like the other two questions the prior. So me currently I do hair. So now that I am stepping into like trichology, I'm looking to hair loss prevention and things like that. But overall, I wanted to do like financial literacy, like with crypto and the foreign exchange market and work on health and wellness as well. So when you saying find the audience, I was looking to where it was, like each person has a different pain point. Should I tailor it to one and then add on? Or can I be diverse because it's not like each person has like I can do hair, I can help people with hair loss, I can help people with hair preventions, but I also want to help financial literacy as well. So is that like too broad or is that like do I build one and then add later?
Your target audience is going to tell you a lot. And those to me are two very different target audiences. So you have your hair audience, you're going to speak to them very differently about very different things than you would speak to someone about financial literacy. So those to me are two very separate entities. You wouldn't mix those. You think about you wouldn't expect a McDonald's ad to talk to you about painting your room because you've got two different needs. You might be able to do that at McDonald's, but that's not why I came there. Walmart has a very specific model. Walmart's model is that you can get a lot of things done here. But even in Walmart themselves, they don't do the nails and the hair inside of the buildings. They allow other people to take up that space. So if you have these two skills and abilities, your marketing is going to be very, very different. So you're going to have two separate audiences. Those to me are two separate entities. And you would struggle to try to, that's not to say that the people who get their hair done can't get help from this financial literacy side, but you wouldn't combine them so that you're trying to do messaging and solve a problem, solve two different problems in one like that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you for your questions, Iman. Val, I see you have your hand up.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm looking at the chat and it's like they're totally different. So many different. Oh my goodness, I'm just overwhelmed. It's just awesome. And mine is a little on the wayside,
Mhm.
if I would say. Um I have what you call, well, what I call a non-traditional tutoring service. So the way things are going now with AI, when I say non-traditional, I service confidence building, organizational skills, study skills, reading and writing. Um, so I was thinking, would it be more feasible for me in terms of AI? Should I go more into gear more towards homeschooling? And I say that because I am in the school system and I'm just seeing classrooms. There's no more 20 to 30 kids in a classroom. They're now combining classrooms. So the students aren't there. So there's some place. And what I'm seeing is that they're at home or more
Mhm.
parents are homeschooling, which
Mhm.
they still work, they have to work. And I'm just asking, is that something I should gear towards?
Well, I would say talk to your marketplace. That's number one. Look at who has the problem. Because in your case, when you're talking about, and this goes for anyone who has specifically, I say kids, anything you're doing with kids, that's that's like a two-sided marketplace that you have. You have a user and a customer, which means your children would be the user, but the people who pay you, the customer, is the parent. So your messaging needs to be about the user, but to the parent or to the person that's paying you. Yes.
I is I service ages 5 and up because I do have adults that need the confidence
Mm-hmm.
building. I have the
Mm-hmm.
low self-esteem. So I've had some adults as well. So you're absolutely right. So that would be in the same cases. I do have two types of users.
Yes. And you would separate that messaging
Yes.
for that because that's that, and we're going to talk about this in one of the later sessions as well. But that target customer, understanding that target customer is all about the marketing. The whole
Yes.
reason you're doing that is so you can understand very clearly who they are, what they need to hear from you to be able to identify themselves in your messaging
Hmm.
and decide that you are the one that can solve their problems. So when you're talking about which way you should go, you should really be looking at who it is that's paying you, the people that population that's actually giving you money.
Hmm.
What is it that they need from you? How are they using AI? How would they like you then to start stepping in and filling a gap?
And
That's
meeting
going
that
to tell
need
you.
enough to pay for it, right?
Yes, exactly. That's
Yes.
probably like the number one thing you want to know about
Yes.
my target customer. Can they pay me?
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. And now I'm looking at this chat when I was supposed to be dropping in here what the benefits are, and I'm seeing lack of traffic. They don't know their audience, they don't know their customers, not a large enough market. Same way that problem sounds like a problem, the benefits sound like benefits. These don't sound like benefits. What are the benefits that your business, your or your solution provides your customers? Really think about the things that, as we just talked about the transportation, the benefits to that family of having reliable transportation to a doctor's appointment. That is a benefit. That freedom is a benefit. Independence, that's a benefit. So when we look at this, people buy results. Features tell, benefits sell. If you hear those benefits, that's what's going to make you open up your wallet and pay somebody. So transportation no longer a barrier, but what's the benefit? What's the next step? Take it one more step further and say, as a result of transportation no longer being a barrier, they get what? Help my customers boost their confidence with brighter smiles and custom tooth gems, quick, comfortable designs. And what is the benefit when the confidence is a benefit, but what is their get? What's their end result that you get out of that? Accurate testing with proper procedures builds trust, but what's the benefit to the customer? What is it that they're walking away with that they're saying, yes, I'm so glad I spent this money because I got this. Creating healthy hair, confidence. So that's the benefit, is confidence. You're creating that healthy hair, but what's that next step? Time off from caregiving families. And the benefit is what? That I feel lighter, that I have more time with my family, that I get to pursue hobbies. What are the benefits? Leaving elders and families feeling safe within their homes, decreasing the isolation, loneliness, and boredom benefits. Promoting independence, autonomy, trust. Those are mixed in there, but you really are looking at what's that benefit. Whiter teeth. What's the benefit of whiter teeth? When people give you confidence or compliments, and that boosts your confidence, and then you're able to do what? Helps reduce accidents in employee environments. So what's the next step? What's the benefit of reduced accidents and safe environments? What's the benefit of a satisfying, intimate experience? Keep going and take it that all the way to the end. Keep saying to yourself, so what? So what? So what? Till you get to the end. A cohesive brand identity and voice. So what? Once I have that, then what? Mental and emotional clarity to show up better for the family. And then what? Connection, energy, belonging. Still, what's the next? What do those things give me? Ivy says this is hard, but actually, what I want you to do tonight is really go home and listen to commercials. Those people have it down. They really get down, and you'll be sitting here saying, now, what in the world does a food delivery service have to do with longevity and life and extended life? They're getting all the way down to the benefits, and that is what people are buying. Building their confidence, also meeting them halfway, building their confidence to be able to do what? That's the next step. So those are the things I'm going to pop back to here, because in 3 minutes we're going to take our break. And I see Jahida sitting here going like, I don't know if you remember. I do. So think about that, though, about your business. What is the benefit that customer is after? What do they truly desire that you are going to talk to them about that they don't even realize? I mean, marketing is so, it's so my mind wants to say tricky, but it's essentially tricky because it's talking to you at a level that you don't even realize that it's talking to you. Even with the imagery, when you look at commercials, they show their target customer. I use this all the time to say, you see that Cadillac commercial, and it's riding through these hills from this fancy home down to a fancy restaurant where the valet person takes the keys to that SUV, and the couple, well-dressed, well-heeled couple, walks into an expensive restaurant. Yes, that's their target customer. But when you walk outside, you probably see a very different image of a Cadillac SUV. It might have some rims on it. It might have some music pumping out of it. It might have somebody that has never had that thing valet parked their entire time they own that car. But Cadillac isn't going to stop them from buying a Cadillac. They're just not going to be their ideal customer. You're never going to see that person in a Cadillac commercial. You should be the same way about your business. Who's that ideal customer that's going to pay you? And what are the benefits they need to see? What do you want them to think about when they do business and they hire you? How do you want them to see themselves through hiring you? That is exactly, that is really the crux of the luxury market. I want my customers to feel elevated and have a higher sense of status just from wearing my shirt with my logo on it or carrying my purse with my name on it. That is really the benefit. They get down to that benefit. So it is 6:14 out here, 6:15. We are going to take a 15-minute break. Am I right on that, Jahida?
Yeah, I think it's usually 10 to 15, so yeah, that works.
So we'll do our 15-minute break. You can turn your mics off, turn your cameras off, and show up back here at 6:30.
Yes, just reminder, anybody that does not, you can turn your cameras off now, but when you come back, please make sure to turn your cameras back on. Cameras are required to be on during all sessions. Okay. All right, we're good.
All right. So now that you're all rejuvenated and everything, we're going to come back to these benefits, the benefits of being rejuvenated. So when we think about, again, as a customer, think about the way you evaluate a purchase and the things that kind of tickle your ear when you hear the advertisement or see it on the magazine of what it is you're looking for. So think about this. You're in the market for a cell phone and you see it's got 32 megapixels. This is old. So back then, 32 was a lot. 32 megapixels. You got wireless charging, RAM, gigahertz, fingerprints. okay, yeah, is that really going to make you buy? Do you think when you're looking for a cell phone, are you thinking in terms of megapixels or gigahertz? Those things mean things to different people, but even the people that really understand it, those are not the primary drivers for making the purchase. This is what it looks like when a product is leading with features. And this is one of the things that we as small business owners, we get lost in it because we know it so well. We built it. We want to talk about what we built, what we do, but we have to turn that lens around to the customer. And what is that customer looking for? What is that customer needing to hear about our product or service to help them make that buying decision? This is what those same features look like, described as a benefit. So instead of saying 32 megapixel camera, you're going to say you can take crisp, professional looking photos. Instead of saying wireless charging, you say no need to stay near a plug. Instead of thinking about these in terms of gigahertz and RAM, you're going to talk about how fast that website will load and that your videos aren't going to freeze. Instead of talking about the fingerprint sensor, one less password to remember. Same features described as a benefit. Does that help figure out when you're thinking about what you have and what your features are and what your customers are actually looking to hear to make a buying decision? This is what it's looking like. You take that same feature and describe it as a benefit. Is that helpful at all? I did put some things in the chat, but that's where you take it that one step further. So what? It has a 30 megapixel camera. What's the benefit the customer will get from that? They're going to get the photos that they're after. That's the side by side that's going to be able to help you really dig down into the solution that you provide, because that's what your customer is buying, a solution. They're not buying features. They're not buying that wizardry that you created and these specific things that you offer, these products that you've developed. They're not buying that. They're buying the result that you're promising if you use your product or service. Excuse me. So hopefully that helps you clarify and really start to look at your own business to see how can I talk about what it is that I offer in a way that my customer needs to make a buying decision. So your why and your how, or excuse me, your why and your wow. This is what I call your special sauce. When you have a business, you're going to have competitors. We'll talk about that later as well, but you will have competitors. Your customers, your target customers, are going to be evaluating whether they should go to you or go to your competitor. You need to be able to understand what your special sauce is so that you can speak about it in all of your marketing and all of your communications to your target customer so that they can understand what's the difference between you and them. The thing that trips up a lot of early stage business owners is when you start using that word unique. It doesn't need to be something not found anywhere else on earth. That's not the level of unique that it has to be. But it has to be something that differentiates you from your competitor. It could be the way you deliver it. If you offer something online, if you offer a delivery service, if you offer late hours in your business. It could be a number of different things that you deliver or you offer that's different than what your competitors offer. And you need to understand, and that goes right back to the conversations with your customers. Understand what it is they need at that deepest level and how can you offer it at the lowest cost to you and then be able to sell it back to them. So when you think about the why, that's really about the culture of your business. Why did you particularly decide to start this business that creates this solution for this problem? What's your why? What gap did you see in the marketplace? What problem did you struggle with and say, I don't want anyone else to have to struggle the same way I did? I'll tell you, I'm inventing a bra. And I have had this in my head for over 20 years because I keep talking to people, and even now when I'm in these stages of design and development, women are saying, "Oh my gosh, why hasn't this existed? Hurry up and bring it to market so that I can wear it." The marketplace has been saying for the longest time, what exists is not sufficient. My why is that I want it. I'm tired of struggling at my age after all these years to have something that fits well, supports me, doesn't dig into my shoulders. All of these things that I've been struggling with form around my why. What is your why? What are the things that you said, okay, enough is enough. I'm tired of waiting for somebody else to solve this problem. I'm going to do it. When you understand what that why is and you build a culture around that, because it's really a bigger idea. It's really that why tends to travel. Let me give you, this is going to be a little broad, but that why tends to be reflected in all areas of your life. So that for me, when I use that bra example, that is me saying, I refuse to wait for someone to solve a problem for me. You will see that reflected in so many things that I do in my personal life, in my professional life. I just don't sit around and say, I wish somebody would do this. As soon as I could do it, I'm on it. That's the culture that I would build into my business. Don't wait for someone to solve a problem. You get in here and solve it. If your job is answering the phones and you find that something is wrong with our phone lines, that it doesn't put people on hold or doesn't transfer, don't wait for someone to solve that. You solve it. You come with the solution because that's really the culture that I would build within my business. And when you think about it, and I will say this, I'm not an Apple fan. I'm not a fan of that ecosystem, but they have that down to a science. You see it in their advertising. Their why is they want to change the world through innovation. And that is exactly what they've done with their ecosystem. That drives the ideas and the products that they come up with. And when you want to talk about features and benefits, man, their advertising has that. Woo, everybody should be studying the way Apple advertises. They take that why and they blend it into what is it that my target customer needs to see when they sell that little the new iPhone feature. They show these young hip people taking edgy movies and doing things that some extreme sports and capturing it on film and making you look like, ooh, I want that. When Siri first came out, that was designed to the business person. So what did you see? You saw the woman packing going, Siri, what's the weather in San Francisco next week? Oh, it's gonna be this and that, so I know what to pack. You saw the guy running through the park talking to his Apple Watch. Siri, cancel my meeting next Tuesday and put my doctor's appointment on there. People were looking at that like, I want to be able to do that. They were changing the way we thought through innovation, and that is their why throughout that company. What's yours? Because whether you identify it or not, your company will be built on that, and everything you do will attract that. So if you're not attracting the kind of customers that you think you should be, you really should be thinking about, am I expressing my why through my business? Your wow is that special sauce. Am I communicating my special sauce? Am I making sure that my target customer sees that I am uniquely qualified in this way to solve that problem? It's not as hard as you think, but it needs to happen. This thought needs to go into that so that all of your messaging is consistent, all of the way you look is consistent. I will share with you one example from my from my own experience that I had an event rental business. And I had business cards made up that were top tier. I mean, they were thick, they had gold edging, smooth velvet surface, they were debossed, so the letters sunk in there. And right on there, it had luxury event rentals. And when I hand out that business card, people will go, ooh. And some of them even said, oh, I already know this is going to cost a lot of money. That's where the luxury ended. It ended right there at that business card because when they hired me, I didn't have luxury prices. When I showed up to their event in my Honda 2005 Honda Accord with the dent in the side and two different color mirrors, there was nothing luxury about that. When I came in with Dollar Tree bags, there was nothing luxury about that. So clearly, I was misaligned with my why and my wow because none of that stuff carried through. And that was a business I didn't love, and I should never have had that business because I didn't want customers. You hear me? When people would say, "Hey, I heard you do event." Oh yeah, kind of. Because I didn't want them to hire. It was work. It was hard. It was hard. So, so you really need to understand and be able to communicate it all through what you do, what you deliver. Because if you really wanted that to be, if I really needed that to be a luxury business, I had a lot of work to do to step that up. You know, I had a woman who was talking to me not too long ago. She says, I need help getting my business started. I do styling for high-level executive women. Nothing about the way she was dressed said high level executive. Nothing about the way she was. She didn't have a bonnet on, but she had like her hair and a wrap thing. She had really, really, really casual clothes on that weren't particularly styled. There was nothing about her that made me look at her and say, you have a good handle on style. And I understood it because of what I just told you. I understood she wasn't aligned with what her special sauce was and her why and her wow. You have to really be clear on that. You can't offer and say this is what I offer and make that promise to your customer. And then once they hire you, they get a totally different experience. It's something that's baked in all the way through. So think long and hard about these three things. So when you build that unique value proposition, it's 6 steps, but you know, these don't overthink it. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. You really are giving yourself credit for what you've built. You started this business. That is way more than a whole lot of other people on this earth. Trust me. A lot of people will talk about it. You've done it. Give yourself credit for that. And then say, I didn't just do this on a whim. I clearly had some skills, abilities, some knowledge, something that made me feel qualified to start this business. That's where you want to start. What are the benefits that I offer? What do I have to offer these people who are willing to give me money? When you identify the target customer, you're really saying, who do I want to speak to specifically? I will tell you that Liz Claiborne has what they call the Liz Lady, and they have dialed that woman in to a T to where they can just sit on a park bench and watch people go by and say, that's a Liz Lady. That's a Liz Lady. That is not a Liz Lady. That's a Liz Lady because they know exactly who she is. We will delve deeper into the target customer in a later session, but that is a big part of helping you identify that unique value proposition because you can't say these things are unique to you if that's not something that your target customer values.
Hey, Kim, quick question, or quick pause before you go to step three. I know Ebony had her hand up. Ebony, do you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Yeah, I think my colleagues helped me out. I missed what UVP was, but thank you to in this
Ariana. Uh-huh.
Ariana and Encanto.
Yes. So it's a
Yes.
unique value proposition.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Ebony. All right, take it away, Kim.
All right. So again, don't be so hard on yourself about unique. You don't need to be particularly special to where you are trying hard and you're discounting what you already bring to the table. You think there's so many places that have the same things out. That doesn't mean that no one else can come into the market with it. You think of the deliciousness we would be missing out on if Colonel Sanders said, hey, there's already enough chicken in here. I'm going to keep my 11 herbs and spices to myself. You know what I just had for dinner. So you you really need to recognize that everything you bring to the table is part of your uniqueness. And your customers need that. Your customers are looking for that. So make sure you part of what you're building that value proposition, you're understanding those target customers, analyzing your competitors. I've had a lot of people talk about the how much better they are with their competitors with things that you have to, one, that you have to hire them to find out for, and two, not necessarily unique, not necessarily special. In other words, they might say, if I say, well, what makes you better than your competitors? They say, well, I offer this particular cleaning product. Well, I work with 6 other cleaning companies that offer the same product. That's number one. So, what makes that unique? But secondarily, I won't know that that's a better product until I hire you. Your unique value proposition should be something that the customer can experience or feel like they experience without ever hiring you. No one's going to gamble that your unique value proposition is what you say it is. So it cannot be something that's essentially behind a paywall. You're going to know how special I am after you've hired me and I've done this work. You don't buy that way, so your customers aren't going to buy that way. You need to know before I even give you my money why you are so special and why you're able to solve my problem in such a unique way. Your competitors are going to kind of tell you what everybody else out there is doing. You only need to be doing something just slightly different that matters to your target customer. That's the key. You cannot offer something special that they don't care about. And the way you know about that is talking to your customer, researching your competitors, seeing what their customers are complaining about, and hop on board. If they say there's no no programs at your competitor, you can offer a loyalty program. Your third time coming to me, you get a punch in your card and you get a discount. Whatever that is, it's simple, but unique, different. And again, it has to be something that your customers value. Match it to the benefits for your customer. Doesn't do them any good for you to offer this thing that they don't get a benefit for. What's in it for me? That's what that customer is looking for. Same way we do when we shop. And then you craft it into a statement. Doesn't need to be a long story. It doesn't need to be something that is really, I hear a lot of quote unquote elevator speeches today that are just so obscure that you have no idea who are you talking to? What are you offering? I don't know what you just said. So your unique value proposition has to be simple. Doesn't need to be crazy. And then talk to your customers. Again, that conversation is going to be so valuable. Even if you only have one, that having that person that you can bounce these things off of is going to be so valuable to your business. The information that you get, there's no other way to get it besides talking to your customer. Now, we're going to talk about framing that solution statement. Make sure it speaks to the way you solve the problem. Problem sounds like a problem, benefit sounds like a benefit. You really have to make it sound like I'm a 3-year-old and you're talking to me about what you're going to do for me. Craft that solution in such a way that your customer has no doubts whatsoever that your business, has the ability to solve their problem. So you're going to be talking about the mechanism, how it solves their problem. What are you going to do to solve their problem? Why is it so much better than the solutions that other people provide? I also want to talk a little bit when you're talking about the marketplace and the other customers, having a lot of people in your industry who are doing what you do is great validation that there's a big problem that somebody's willing to pay for to solve. If you are stepping into something where there's literally no other people who are doing exactly what you do, you really want to think twice about, is this something that you can make money with? Because if you could make money with it, somebody else would be doing it. That's just the nature of this business, of this country. Capitalism is king. People will jump on a bandwagon if there's money to be made. So if you find yourself in a space where there's pretty much nobody out there, then think about, what is this a real big problem that people are willing to solve? So then proof. Proof comes from testimonials. Now, I will say that if you are someone who's building a business from the inside out, meaning you had this problem, you figured out this problem, and you're now on the other side of this problem, and you said, I'm going to create a business so that all the other people who have this problem can solve it the same way I did. You are proof. Even if you don't have any other customers yet, you are proof. Don't stop there, but use that proof, use that experience as the talking points in your marketing, as when people talk about the results that they want to buy. When you talk about the benefits, talk about the benefits you've received, talk about the results you've achieved, because you are your first customer in that scenario. You want to make sure that you're extracting that language, extracting that experience, and talking about it in your solution statement. Talking about it when you talk about the results. Talking about it when you talk about the benefits. And then you're going to attract other people who have that problem, and then they become your customers and they become your proof. So don't discount the work that you have done building that business from your own experience. When you're thinking about what to emphasize, there are some people who have some proprietary things. Those should always, always be identified in your solution statement. If you have something patented, if you have a framework that's trademarked, if you have a specific structure that you use that no one else uses, that you created, absolutely front and center, that should be identified. You want your target customer to recognize that you have a perspective, you have a point of view that no one else has really looked at the same way, and that speaks directly to them and their problem. They don't care if you've created something the earth has never seen if it doesn't benefit them. So that's where you have to tie it to them. And then the benefits of it. What's the benefit of this proprietary thing that you created? What's the benefit of the solution and the system that you have put into place through your business? Make sure you're highlighting this. Give yourself credit. Pat yourself on the back. Stick that chest out. This is exactly what you want to be able to offer people. And you want them to buy it because it is so amazing. Be amazing. Don't be afraid to be amazing. If you've got something that even you think, it's easy to me. I think hair. Please. If I had to do your hair, there would be no benefit to that, just so you know. Zero benefits. So if you can do hair, that's something that's a problem that I'm willing to pay for. So when you're able to do that, just because you can do it and it's easy to you, don't assume it's easy to everybody else. Stick your chest out about it. Make sure you make it sound huge. This is a big thing that you do. I will tell you, I was a DBE certified, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and that's through the federal government. This story has stuck with me for years. The person who ran that said there was a guy he did balloons, helium balloons. He had one tank and he would go like to fairs and what do you call those things? Like little markets and do balloons. And he decided to create a television ad for his business. This large convention was coming, and they were coming from out of the area, so they were reaching out to the different balloon places. I feel like it was some kind of political event, huge event. And they were reaching out to the different balloon companies in the area, and they all said, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty large. I probably can't do that. But you should call this guy. He's got the ad on television. Call him." And they did. And this guy said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Huge, huge job. And it put him on the map because all these other people saw he had an ad on television and thought he was this big balloon company, and they passed. They handed him that business. And he said, "Yeah, heck yeah, I'll do it." And got all the tanks, all the balloons, and went skyrocketed. His business literally skyrocketed from that one thing. From him deciding just because I'm one guy doesn't mean I can't have a TV commercial. Now, I'm not saying go out and get yourself a TV commercial, but I'm saying that don't be afraid to stand out and be big and bold and visible in your business. He was saying, "I'm a one guy, but I do great work. Let me put it on TV." You do great work. Make sure you are standing out in a crowd in a way that reflects how much value you're bringing to the marketplace with your business. All right. Oh, geez, we're getting here early. So you're going to be writing your problem and solution statements. I'm going to actually give you another assignment with this. You're going to write your problem statement and your solution statement exactly as it is here on the screen. Who's impacted, what's happening to them, and why it matters for the problem. And then your solution is a product or a service that does what for who, and that's allowing them to do what. You're going to tell how your business is a vitamin or a pain reliever, either one, and then translate 3 features into a benefit. I really, really want you to get the benefit piece. So I'm going to actually make that 5 features. Need 5 features and translate those into customer benefits. Problem sounds like a problem. Your benefits sound like a benefit. Take it all the way to the end. Keep saying to yourself, so what? I do this. So what? So I can give them this. So what? So they can do this. So what? Where do they end up at the end? That's the benefit. And when you can talk to your customers from a perspective of the benefit of what they get from it, you're going to find that sales conversation is a whole different conversation. You're going to see your marketing. You're going to look at the way you position your marketing in a whole different way because all those benefits should be everything on your website, should be everything you talk about in your ads, should be on all of your collateral for your business. Benefits, benefits, benefits.
Hey, Kim, Juanita has a question. She has her hand up. You want to come off mute?
Hi. Okay,
Hello.
so sorry, I'm at else's. So, the consumer that you were talking about before, like, what was his steps of action? Like, did he go straight to the commercial, or did he build up to the commercial?
I don't have a whole lot of information on his background, but the way it was explained, he was just going to like fairs and markets and he just did a commercial. It wasn't something that he thought would lead to the kind of job that he got when he made the commercial. It was
Right.
just a way for him to advertise what he did.
And so was he on like you said, but was he on like social media before? Like, did his target audience was his target audience um did it translate from social media to the commercial? But you just said you don't know. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Okay,
No,
I
no,
think I
that's
understand
okay.
now.
But I will tell you that because I got some of that information because this was years ago. So social media wasn't what it is today. It wasn't the
Right.
marketing engine that it is today. So that was part of the reason he did the television ad because he wasn't into the social media thing. He was kind of old school and he did
Right.
the television ad as his marketing tool.
And then did he get back the cost triple with doing the new business?
Easy, easy, because the program is and that's what makes me remember it was a political thing because the person who told us about it was the person who ran the certification program, that disadvantaged business program.
Right.
So that for him, for that balloon guy, that was actually a government contract. It was enormous for him. And then once you get into those systems, they tend to do repeat business and recommend you to other people. So it literally skyrocketed his business.
So he was on the DBE list and then he like got it, or did he kind of jump over one to get on another, or
He was a DBE. He was certified as a DBE, and that's how he was able to get part of how he was able to
oh,
get that
okay.
connection.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just want to pause real quick. I know, Chloe, you asked a good question. So You're more than welcome to screenshot the activity slide if you need to, but just know that this will also be shared with everyone. So if anybody else kind of was thinking about that, just know these slides will be shared, but please feel free to screenshot whatever you need to.
Mm-hmm. So I think we are actually at the question slide. Or do you want to run this? I'm going to see if I can do this with sound because sometimes it does not play with the sound. But this is a sample of a pitch. It's 1 minute. You have 3 minutes for your pitch, but just
Excuse me,
pay
I had a
attention.
question
Yes.
really quick.
Yes.
Hear me? Can you hear me? Can y'all
Uh-huh.
hear me? Oh, okay. So with the question with the homework, is we gonna be able to have the extra part that you added onto our slides? I mean, information as well in the email?
Yeah, the bottom bullet is for 3 features. I just made it 5 instead of 3.
Okay, so we just do 5. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. That's all I
Sure.
needed.
That's all.
And just a quick reminder, I think somebody else actually has their hand up. The pitch competition, technically you cannot go any lower than 3 minutes, but you can't go past 4 minutes. So you have between 3 to
Okay.
between 3 to 4 minutes
Mm-hmm.
to do your pitch. It doesn't sound like a lot, but again, this is what we're preparing you to do. But again, timing is very important because this is the 6th year. We have had multiple times where people go over literally 5 seconds and that disqualifies them, or they go under 5 seconds. So when we tell you practice, 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 we are not joking because this gets harder every single year. Okay. Skin soiree. I believe you have.
Hi, I just had a quick question. So is the activity due on for the Wednesday Zoom? And also will we be presenting these or like emailing them to you guys when we're done?
You could email them for these because you're going to get another activity. I think you're getting another one on Wednesday. So this Monday one and this Wednesday one both will be due the following Monday.
Okay, due Monday, not Wednesday.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to try, if no one other questions, we're going to see if we can get sound on this.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Crow.
Were you hearing that?
Yes, we're not seeing any visuals, Kim, but we definitely hear it.
Okay, so let me then change the share screen.
While you figure that out, Kim, Latoy's asking, can you read off of something or do we need to memorize pitches? You can absolutely do bullet points like for yourself as you're reading through your pitch slides, but just make it sound organic, right? You don't want to sound like you're actually reading off of something because that is something that the judges do take into account. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I will add to that no one knows your business better than you. So you put whatever slides you need or whatever bullet points you need to kind of jog your memory. But the more you can speak naturally, the better you come across as knowing your business. Okay, can you see now the video?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Crow, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Gooder, a sustainable food waste management company leveraging technology to combat hunger. Our blockchain-enabled mobile and web apps allow our clients that include restaurants, hotels, schools, catering companies, and convention centers to redirect their surplus food to organizations that feed people that are food insecure. Gooder is solving the food logistics problem. Our technology automates and manages the surplus food supply chain process and allows businesses to track and account for their donations. Since our humble beginnings in January of this year, our clients now include Turner Broadcasting Systems, Andretti's Indoor Karting and Games, in the world's busiest airport right here in Atlanta, ATL. We've recovered over 75,000 pounds of prepared foods and saved our clients over $700,000. At Gooder, our mission is simple: feed more, waste less. And we don't just have a dream, we have a plan. I'm inviting you to join us and do Gooder. Thank you. Hi,
So if you think about all that she was able to pack,
That was a minute.
1 minute, 1 minute, you're gonna have 3.5. So she really hit the important points. She didn't spend a lot of time on an introduction. She didn't go all deep into a lot of different directions. She was able to really hit those important points that someone that she was pitching to would really want to know. That's really what you want to get to. What are those meaty, tasty pieces that you want to make sure you highlight in your pitch and really squeeze that into your 3.5 minutes? So, questions.
I have a question. I don't know how to raise the hand, so I'm sorry for just jumping in.
You're
But
good.
so she wasn't showing any slides. Are you saying we're going to do a pitch without
No,
a
no.
slide?
You will have slides. We're going to
Oh,
you're going to have
okay.
slides. That was just an example of how to talk about what you do, who you do it
Gotcha.
for, why you do it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm. I see another hand.
I don't know if it was just me. I'm Teresa.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your name? I'm sorry.
Teresa.
Teresa. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
So I did have a question. I wanted to know, is it because we're going to be doing slides, like are we going to present the same way that you presented, Kimberly, where we share our screen and then we provide the different slides and we're going to talk through it? So you really won't be able to see us necessarily on the screen unless like you got us at the top. That was my first question. So,
Well, that will depend on if we're doing in person or virtual.
oh, got it. Okay.
Because we've always done them virtual, but we've also done where you're kind of like the little person in the window. It's really kind of like how it's been over Zoom. So it depends on how the person has their screen set up. But if we do it in person, obviously it would be a totally different setup.
Okay, that was one. Another question was like I guess if we were doing in person or maybe on video or however, like do you allow props and stuff? Is that something that'll be acceptable or appropriate or not?
Well, let me say my opinion, and I'll leave it. I'll also let listen to me. Jahira and Marisol also comment. You don't want to spend a precious second with a prop.
Okay.
When I say that the presentations can come down to a second, it is so true. You go over a second and lose those points where the other person didn't go over and they get those points. And that could mean the difference of winning anything and being not even getting into the top three. So be very, very, very um, laser focused when you're putting together this presentation, and props, I would say, are just going to chew up time that you don't have to spend.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I second that. Yeah.
Would we be able to see the winner of last year's pitch to see how theirs went or previous year?
I was just looking for that actually. We can totally share pitches from last year. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, from past years. Can't promise last year, but definitely at the very least 2024, which we had obviously some amazing pitches as well.
Mm-hmm. Other questions? I think that was on my slides.
There
I do
is.
have one question.
Yeah.
So for my business specifically, just based off the conversations that we were having earlier, I kind of have two different audiences. One is geared towards the adults and then one is geared towards the youth. Um, for the pitch specifically, would you recommend like grouping them together or focusing on one audience over the other?
What's your business?
So Shooting Stars Institute is a creative arts development workforce training programs. So we focus on modeling, acting, fashion exploration, and media production. And again, we have the youth program, and then we have the adult program, which is 18 plus. And then the youth is from the right now I don't really have an age group for the youth, I'm not gonna lie. But it is focused towards right now our goal is to present the programs in the rec centers, which is usually 8 to about 15, 8 to 15 or even up to 18 plus, I'm sorry.
So I would ask how do you intend to use the money if you were to win?
So that will be used to hire more instructors so that we can make our programs more accessible, and also to be able to we'll put down a down payment for a location.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask this question because it just came in my head. For $5,000, you're gonna do all that with $5,000?
Um, I plan to, yes. But that's, honestly, just being completely honest, I am more so thinking of using it to be able to supply stipends for instructors.
I would say that, just my own opinion, I would say that is somebody. I would say that is going to be a tough ask. Remember, these judges or these funds, they're looking for ways to support business growth. They want to be able to say that they were instrumental in helping this business move from, let's say, $10,000 to $15,000 or $20,000 over the course of a year. Providing stipends to your participants isn't necessarily going to move that needle for you. So I would say, to your original question, is think about what are some ways you could use the money to increase your revenue, increase your uh, offerings, and then from there, whichever one of those lanes you think you can increase, that's the one that you put into your pitch. So if you think you can make a bigger impact on the youth side, then tailor it to the youth side. If you think you can make a bigger impact on the adult side, then you would do that. But and this goes for everyone, get really, really clear about what you intend to do with the funds if you were to win them, and really bake your presentation and your pitch around that.
Just as a real quick, a second part to that question. When it comes to the fund specifically, because I know there are like multiple, pitches that you could essentially, participate in. As far as the funding for one, can it be like, like I plan to use this fund like towards something, but then, essentially it's like starter. I don't know how to really phrase it, but like starter money to be able to help the end goal, essentially. So again, if I'm referring to like us being able to find a location so that we can provide more services, whereas like the 5,000 could be used as like a down payment, but then we plan to, outsource for other funding. Is that something like, is that acceptable, or how does that work?
That's certainly acceptable, but I would say, back to tailoring your presentation, you want to be able to show how you're going to get that additional funding. You want to be able to show, if you're saying this is a down payment that's going to pay for 2 months at this facility, you need your pitch, and somewhere in there while you're structuring it, it needs to show that you have a path, a channel to pay for the remaining 10 months. You think about this as your own money. If someone was coming to you and saying, I need $5,000 for my business, what would you expect to hear from that business owner? And what would you like the benefit to be for that money?
Thank you.
Sure.
I know Mercedes had her hand up first, and then Ivy, I see a question in the chat. I'm going to answer that. And then it looks like Imani is up next. So Mercedes?
Okay.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure, but I believe there was a question on the application about would you be available to do the pitch in person in Buffalo or Rochester? Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because we were trying to figure out, it's still on the table if we're going to do in person or virtual, which is primarily we've done it virtual. But because this program is open to both regions, we want to see, like, for example, if we had a majority folks from Rochester and we decide to do in person, we're not going to do it in Buffalo, right? Because it wouldn't make sense. So we're trying to see where everyone's coming from, if people would be available to do things in person. And there are a couple other logistics that we're trying to figure out on the back end. So that's why we don't have a set decision of if we're doing in person or virtual just yet. But that's where that question came from.
One more question.
Yeah.
The young lady in a 1 minute pitch kind of moved a little fast, but I'm not really hearing anything about storytelling in the pitch. I know you said don't really use a lot of time on the first 3 slides, but I didn't hear a lot about storytelling.
When you say storytelling, what do you mean?
From what I was taught in all these classes, it's like the why, and usually the why could be a part of the story as to what motivated you to start your business. Does that make
So
sense?
yes, and I what you'll get the slides, and the slides have a link. I would encourage you to go back and listen. She did have that baked in there, but I also
Oh,
would say to you that there are situations where that backstory is very beneficial. I will also say to you that in this situation, it is not. You don't want to spend a great deal of time telling the story of the business because you're going to lose time at the end where you really need to be spending that time.
okay, one more little question. Little
Sure.
question. Okay, so I do grief support and holistic care. And it was birthed out of, I don't even know if that's the right word to use, or due to a personal story. So, and that usually is my grab you type of thing. Not, I mean, it's because it's my reality and it's part of my story. So I guess you're saying just keep it really brief some kind of way.
Exactly, because recognize this audience when you're talking about a customer or you're talking about even for what's the word I want to use for thought leadership, that backstory is going to be the hook is going to be important. You want to hook your people. In
Right.
the instance of this pitch, you're not
Uh-huh.
necessarily trying to hook them with the story. You're trying to hook them with the growth that you are going to achieve as a result of winning the money. That's the hook for this audience.
Okay, I was off the path. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Mercedes. Imani, you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Hi. So I wanted to ask, my business is service based. It's a service-based business. We do marketing and branding and corporate cohesive storytelling for brands so that they can better advertise their services. And I'm just kind of wondering, we kind of focus on small businesses at the moment, but we don't have a specific niche because I think that what we do is very like applicable to a lot of different businesses. So in terms of um one, I guess, would you recommend niching down or having that in the pitch somehow? And two, I'm not, how would we articulate, I guess, the benefits of a more service-based business? Because there are a lot of features of our service, but then yeah, how would we like best communicate the benefits, if that makes sense?
What was the problem you saw in the marketplace?
A lack of cohesive branding, specifically for small businesses that are at that point where they're kind of um moving to the next level of scaling up. So making sure that all of the internal communications have a clear and cohesive vision, making sure that their why, kind of like what we were talking about today, making sure the why is very clear in every aspect, from the culture of the workplace to the actual product or service that they provide. And also utilizing social media to their advantage, utilizing digital marketing to their advantage, and utilizing traditional marketing to their advantage as well, if that's not something that they're doing.
What what were those, what was the lack of those things preventing those businesses from doing?
From growth, essentially, from um, manageable growth, I would say, because I think there is a point at which sort of the startup mentality of a business doesn't really serve as it's growing. So manageable structure and sustained growth, I think, is the issue that was sort of holding them back, if that makes sense.
Did they see that as holding them back?
Um, Not necessarily. It kind of, I think, I think for one of one of the clients, it's more they knew that something was not quite right, but they weren't quite sure how to fix it and how to have the solution. So that's sort of how we came in, if that makes sense. So it's they know that there is a problem, they just don't know quite what the problem is.
So from the expert point of view, which you would be the expert, you should be able to talk to them about the down, there's a phrase that I'm looking for. Essentially seeing 5, 10 steps ahead of them and saying, if you don't fix this problem, this is a problem that you're gonna face.
Mm-hmm.
These are the situations or the things that are going to be preventing you from growing.
Mm-hmm.
And speak about that from a benefits perspective. But by tunneling and really focusing on a specific niche, then you can really speak to that particular niche's path to say, so a cleaning company per se is going to have a very different path than, say, a hairstylist or someone who does nutrition coaching. Being able to say this lane, if you follow this, if you continue down this path without these things in place, these are the situations that you're going to face with specificity. That's the reason of niching down, is being
Mm-hmm.
able to be very specific to this particular niche. And then speaking about what you do in their language.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Sure. Do we have other questions? Were you able to get anything out of the session tonight? Were you able to understand some things and really try to look at your business from a different perspective? I absolutely want to reinforce that you've done the hard part. You started the business. This is really where you start digging in and building from the ground up and giving yourself some foundation that you can really start to make a sustainable long-term business from and not have to push so hard uphill. Once you get these things in place and you really start speaking to your customer in ways that they can really hear why they need to hire you, that sales cycle is going to feel so much easier. It really truly becomes just a conversation at that point.
All right, looks like we have a lot of happy faces, people happy to be here. Some people, it
Good.
looks like they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, it says. That's okay. You have a few
Right.
weeks to figure it out. So that's that's not a problem. Just a heads up, you will be receiving an email in the next 10 minutes, essentially, with tonight's slides. Marisol, what am I missing? The video won't be till tomorrow because Zoom has to do the whole conversion and everything.
Yeah.
So you'll get that in an email tomorrow, probably around noon, but at least the slides, you'll receive that tonight and within the next 10 minutes. Marisol, is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah. Oh, so I was able to find last year's pitch. So I'm only going to put down the winning pitch. And then I might be able to share throughout the weeks the second and third place. So yeah, so it'll be just easier to click on that and just watch that. But also last thing for today and for the rest of the series, we're not going to allow AI agents to be in the sessions, guys. So you guys can disable that from joining. But that's pretty much it.
Thank you for that reminder. Definitely forgot to mention that early on today. Yeah, so that's about it. I think we're good. Kim, is there anything you want to leave us off with?
We are good. Enjoy the homework. Again, no one knows your business better than you. So whatever you say it is what it is.
Perfect. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Thank you. See you Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.